Pizza time.
You late?
All right, I had to record right now because I just watched the new Spider-Man movie. The one where he's in the alternate dimensions. Is it No Way Home? Can't Forget Home? I forget the name of it. Man, it was just mediocre. How could anyone think this movie's like fucking a masterpiece right now? This is crazy. They use gimmicks all over this movie. If Doctor Strange isn't in the movie, you don't have a movie. You know, it might as well be called the Doctor Strange something with Spider-Man. That's what the movie should be called. Doctor Strange is the catalyst for the movie. If he's not there, there's no fucking point making the movie. Just wild. And he shows up in the first act, and then he's like gone. And then he shows up in the third act again. So total MacGuffin, total gimmick for the movie. Total MacGuffins all over the place. Every villain from every Spider-Man movie is in this movie, and also every Spider-Man's in this movie. And I'll be honest, when Andrew Garfield showed up, I thought that was a big moment, even though it's like in this apartment, and it's like, I don't know, it's like the most lame location like he could pop up in. It's a fucking apartment. Yeah, definitely seeing Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire pop up in the movie was super exciting to see. But I can't help feel that it would have been way better if they showed up at the beginning of the movie. We got to see a little bit of them in their, universes, and then you see them later on. It really feels like they just pop up. I don't know how I feel about that. Just totally going for, that nostalgia factor, with this movie. And I know the whole Spider-Man movie setting up the fact that, these, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they're getting, pulled out of their universes, right at the climactic moment of their movies, right? I think that's the whole point they were trying to make, right? But they should have made that more obvious. You should have seen that climactic moment from those movies, and then them getting sucked out of that reality and into the Spider-Man movie. I just felt like everything in the Spider-Man movie was lazy and just mediocre, boring. Even when you see Andrew Garfield for the first time, it's just a goddamn apartment. What are these sets? You know what I'm saying? How are our standards lowered this much? You know what I'm saying? You know how much that shop probably costs? Probably $10,000. Not even. They were in a goddamn apartment. I don't get it. They could have been way more creative, bringing these guys into the universe. And I hope the Flash movie, I know, the whole DC versus Marvel thing is a big thing. But there's no doubt that these movies were made around the same time, and they both knew what each other was making, so this is all a case of somebody trying to beat the other one to the punch. And the Flash movie, you bet your ass is going to be nostalgia for the Michael Keaton Batman. You bet your ass. I hope that's not, the point of the movie. I hope that's not the only thing driving the plot of the movie. And I'm sure it won't be the only thing driving the plot, because you got, Supergirl in that movie. You got, Reverse Flash in that movie, which should be, the alternate Barry Allen that should become Reverse Flash. At least that's what we're thinking, right? So you got new characters sprinkled in to Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton is the only nostalgia factor of the movie. Michael Keaton, the old Tim Burton Batmobile, that's, as far as we know, that's the only thing they're taking from old movies right now. And I think Ben Affleck's going to be in the movie too, but then again, that's just continuing the continuity they already set up with Justice League and stuff like that. That disaster that Justice League was. They're trying to salvage it with this Flash movie. So it's a completely different goal they're trying to create with the Flash movie. I mean, the goal of this Spider-Man movie was to make money. Clearly, clearly it's making a lot of money. I think that's the goal. They definitely succeeded. But as far as future movies, you're not going to see Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire in future MCU films, probably. Unless they make their own, movies again. The Amazing Spider-Man 3 or, a fucking Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie again. That would be crazy if they were able to do that. I wouldn't mind that. That'd be awesome to have 3 different Spider-Mans going at the same time. I think, why not, But anyway, not going to get hung up on that. What I am going to get hung up on is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. I totally missed when he showed up. And I was looking at my phone or something. I looked up and they're in a lab and it's all 3 Spider-Men working together. I'm when the fuck did this happen? You know what I'm saying? That's how insignificant an entrance he made. He had to make his entrance when I was looking at my phone for the time. It's fucking wild. I thought Tobey Maguire was CG the whole time. Green Goblin, all the villains that he killed are in this movie. I think Electro dies in Amazing Spider-Man 2, which, by the way, If you didn't watch Amazing Spider-Man 2, you are missing out. So many Easter eggs. My God, the movie's so good with Amazing Spider-Man 2. You know, you had to have watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 to get what's going on in the third act of this movie. Isn't that hilarious? It's like if they make this new Flash movie with like the Tim Burton Batman and, you know, they tie in Batman and Robin. You know, and George Clooney pops up with fucking Mr. Freeze or something like that. You know, they take the stain of the Batman franchise and fucking put it in the new movie. That's essentially what they did. But, you know, I will give them credit. They took the best moment from Amazing Spider-Man 2, and that's when Gwen Stacy, that's when she fucking kicks the bucket. They take that moment and they recreate it in this movie, only it's with MJ, and Andrew Garfield saves MJ. And I felt like that was the best moment of the movie. But then again, it's only good if you watched Amazing Spider-Man 2. If you didn't watch that movie and you don't remember that scene, it's going to fall completely flat when he's like, you know, he has this like cathartic moment where he's staring at MJ. He's like, oh, I saved you. I couldn't save Gwen Stacy, but I could save you. You don't get that unless you watch Amazing Spider-Man 2. So, you know, the film is relying on other films. Like, it's not its own fucking thing at all. At all. I don't know, is that a problem with anybody else? That the film can't stand on its own? It's not its own, like, story. It has to be connected to several other films. If you didn't watch Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock, like, what are you going to give a fuck about Doc Ock for? You know what I'm saying? But thank God a lot of people watched that movie, right? You got that. You got your Green Goblin coming back, Willem Dafoe, and it doesn't make a lick of sense. Doesn't make a lick of sense. Apparently, they take all these villains from the moment, like, right before they died, like, you know, hours before they died or whatever, maybe the day before they died, and they take them and they put them in this alternate universe because Spider-Man's fucked up the timeline with this Doctor Strange spell. It's a real convoluted plot that it's almost, like, unbelievable that they wrote it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost unbelievable that they thought this was a good idea. And it's going to work, for sure. It's going to work, for sure. I'm sure it's going to make tons of money. Even though it probably shouldn't. So funny how fucking mediocre this movie is. It's so funny. There are scenes with Happy, like at the beginning of the movie, like Happy, the fucking Jon Favreau's character, he's like totally simping over Aunt May. And he's like, oh, you know, why is it over? Can I still be your boyfriend? Like that's the kind of shit you get at the beginning of the movie. He's totally simping over Aunt May because Aunt May is hot. So we got to lean into that even more, that Aunt May is hot. And, oh yeah, by the way, Aunt May dies in this movie, but it's not nearly as good as the video game, dude. Like, they tried to copy that same moment from the video game, and Tom Holland undersells it. You know what I'm saying? It's too sudden. You don't really know what's going on. You're like, is she really dying? I don't know. I mean, are they going to turn this back with the timeline? Doctor Strange can make everybody forget who Spider-Man is, but he can't bring Aunt May back to life. You got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? You got me fucked up with that. How can Doctor Strange do all this, but he can't fucking, he can't help Spider-Man with that? And by the way, the ending of the movie is Spider-Man like, let everybody forget who I am. Why didn't you just do that at the beginning of the movie? Then there wouldn't be a fucking movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, why did it take you a whole movie just to be like, oh, make sure everybody forgets me? Like, that should have been the first thing. That should have been the first thing. And of course, by the end of the movie, Spider-Man's all sad because MJ doesn't remember him. But it's like, you know everything about her. You could easily win her back. You know what I'm saying? Just play your cards right, man. And like, you know, like the people that don't remember he's Spider-Man, you could just befriend them again and you could tell them you're Spider-Man. Boom. End of story. You know, it's not, it's not as sad when you actually think through it. I swear to God, there were so many laughable moments in the film. So many laughable moments. Anything with Green Goblin was laughable because he acted nothing like Norman Osborn from Spider-Man 1. It's like a completely new character. Nothing like that first Spider-Man. And they actually recreate a scene in Spider-Man 2 where he leaves like his Spider-Man leaves his mask in the alley. Green Goblin does the same fucking thing in this movie. So, you know, they can't come up with their own ideas for anything. They're constantly stealing ideas from other movies. It's not its own original story, but no one gives a fuck about that. They just want to see all their Spider-Mans on screen, even though it makes no sense. And I just feel like a lot of the movie was just super lazy. Even Lizard being in the movie, like he's in the movie for like a second. I barely remember if he said anything. Did he say anything? I don't know. I have no idea. Sandman was in the movie. He had a couple lines, but that was another one they put in the movie for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no reason for him to be there. And he didn't fit the theme that they were going for because, you know, all these villains were killed by Spider-Man, right? You know, accidentally or on purpose, you know, one or the other. But, you know, Spider-Man was killing these villains in the movies. And in this movie, all the villains are back and you gotta set the timeline right. So they all gotta die again. I don't know, it's really a morbid story when you think about it. But that's kind of, you know, the theme, the plot that they're going for. Sandman doesn't fit that at all. Like, Sandman doesn't die in Spider-Man 3. He just flies away, you know? Like, it's not, what is the purpose of him being there? And I don't know what Spider-Man's really learning in this movie. Because Tom Holland, by the end of the movie, gets super, like, fucking crazy and, like, murderous and wants to kill Green Goblin. You know, so that happens to Tom Holland. So what's he learning by the end of the movie? You know, because it's not, you can't change your fate, because by the end of the movie, they do change everything about, you know, Tom Holland's life as Spider-Man, right? So it's not that. I don't know what the only point of this movie was to make everybody forget Tom Holland, Spider-Man, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That was the whole point of this movie. It's to give him his secret identity back. That was the goal they accomplished in this whole movie. That was the whole point of the movie. And I'll be honest, when we get to like all the villains and you see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and all these Spider-Man, that's the funnest part of the movie. It's too bad I got to sit through like half a movie of garbage at the first half. You know, it's just like trash. Yeah, it's too bad I got to sit through that to get to the good stuff. But anyway, I was not feeling this movie at all. Not feeling this movie at all from the get-go. The Aunt May death like totally made me think of the video game, and it totally killed it for me. Like, I'm like, the video game did this so much better. Like, how could they even think that they could do what the video game did? You know what I'm saying? Like, how could they even think that they could do it better than the video game? You know, like, that's wild that they would even attempt it, right? And in this movie, we have so much shit going on. You have so many different characters, and you're gonna kill Aunt May? All you motherfuckers that bash BVS for having like 50 storylines or whatever and killing Superman, and you're fine with this? You're fine with this? Like, the haphazard way they killed Aunt May for no reason? Like, this is like, it's wild. And then Peter Parker, Tom Holland, he gets real pissed off and he wants to kill Green Goblin with his own glider, just like the first Spider-Man movie where Green Goblin goes, oh, and he dies by his own glider. So, you know, Tom Holland becomes a murderous Spider-Man that just wants to murder Green Goblin, and Tobey Maguire stops him, and then he gets stabbed in the back hilariously. Hilariously. It was so fucking funny. I laughed out loud when Tobey Maguire got stabbed. He's like, oh, I got stabbed. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, he's a Green Goblin. Why would you trust him? Like, don't you have experience with this? Like, you already fought him, right? And he already tried to stab you in the back multiple times. Anywho, I thought that was interesting how they really wanted to show Tom Holland as like this murderous Spider-Man by the end. And I thought they were going to go through with it. I thought they were going to show him actually killing Green Goblin. I thought they were going to do that. They didn't, fortunately. They did not do that, fortunately. I don't know. I got lots of feelings about this movie. A total cash grab movie. Like, there's no rhyme or reason for anything in this movie. Like, apparently, like, when Spider-Man's fighting Doctor Strange, there's this great line where Strange is like, they can't change their fate. And they say fate a couple times, which I think is funny because Dr. Fate is going to be popping up in the DC universe. He's going to be popping up in the Black Adam movie. He'll probably show up in that Flash movie. Dr. Fate is going to be a big part of these movies coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so funny that they want to keep saying fate, and like Doctor Strange is literally Marvel's Dr. Fate. Like, so like, you know, it's the same fucking character really. And I feel like this is all just an attempt to beat DC to the punch because they knew, you know, this Flash movie was coming. And when they're making the Flash movie, they know this Spider-Man movie is coming. Like, they know. It's not like these movies are made in a fucking vacuum. You know, these Hollywood executives, they know what movies are coming. And they're all just trying to beat each other to the punch. And they don't even care if the movie's good or bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the main point right now. They don't care if the movie's good or bad. You know, they just want to beat the other guys to the punch. That's what it is. and they don't really want to think it through because, I mean, movie doesn't make any sense at all. Like, if you could just make everybody forget your name, why wouldn't you just do it at the beginning of the movie and just save us all 2 hours here? What is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't really vibe with the movie. I thought Andrew Garfield was the best part. I thought when he came into the movie, the movie instantly became interesting. Like, it was like instantly like, oh my God, I miss Andrew Garfield. He was a really good Spider-Man. And that's all you're thinking the whole time. And then Tobey Maguire shows up and like, oh, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT Spider-Man. And that's all you're thinking. You're not thinking of the story. That's definitely the biggest point, man. Like, you don't care what's going on in the story. You just want to see these actors in these roles again. It could be anything on the screen. They're fucking fighting at the fucking Statue of Liberty. Like we're in X-Men 1. Like, come on now. Like, you know, where's the imagination? You know, all these alternate dimensions, all these villains, all these heroes, and all you can give me is like one fight at the Statue of Liberty. One fight with Doctor Strange with some trains. You know what I'm saying? And Doctor Strange gets like trapped in that area, and it takes him like 12 hours. He's like, I was trapped there for 12 hours after you beat me, Spider-Man. Like, really? I thought you could teleport and shit, like just at the whim of like magic or whatever. Like, how are you stuck there for 12 hours? You know what I'm saying? That was another thing. Like, don't think about anything too hard in this movie or your ears will start to bleed. I had a lot of fun watching it. What y'all think of Spider-Man, Far From Home, Gone From Home, Homestead? I forget the name of it. It's something. Obviously, the biggest thing that happened in this movie was J. Jonah Jameson coming to the rescue. J. Jonah Jameson, the best part of the movie for me. And obviously, the Batman cameo at the end was incredible. Loved it. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.